Let's do it. All right, guys, we're back with another Cryptoneers AMA. We're here with Etherstones today. I'm excited about Etherstones. I know Johnny and Scott are excited about Etherstones. Johnny was actually the 8th person in the Etherstones Discord. I followed a little bit after him, but we've been following this project closely. We're just very excited to have Indra here to talk to us about the project, to learn more about it before it launches. Nothing here is financial advice, guys. Just bringing information on a hot project coming up. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through some questions, and if we don't get your question answered at the end, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll bring you up on stage to add value to the community and the Discord, okay? And the AMA. So without further ado, I'm tag teaming this AMA with Johnny and Scott, my two wingmen for AMAs. They're excited. That's why they both wanted to be here for this. Indra, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and what you do for the project, and a little bit of background on who you are, my friend.
Sure. So, hey guys, I'm Indra. I'm the person behind the entire project. So my background in crypto is that I got started like 2 years ago, where I started with algorithmic trading on Binance. And from there, I just followed crypto pretty thoroughly throughout those 2 years. And then recently I worked on a reflection token as a dev. And that inspired me to start this project because I saw flaws with reflection tokens, and I also saw all the hype behind nodes. And then that just like gave me the idea to kind of combine them and create Etherstones.
Fair enough, man. Great. Why don't you tell us, for the people that maybe are listening that have no friggin' clue what Etherstones is? I know you gave a little bit of description, like you're combining reflections and nodes together, but give us a little bit more about. Oh, and we lost him. He's down. All right, let's get him back up here. I was just getting in the groove too. Indra, raise your hand again, my friend. We'll get you back up. All right, there you go.
My Discord crashed, my bad.
No, you're good, man. Welcome back. What I was saying is you gave a little bit about reflections and nodes coming together, and you had the idea, but give us a little bit more gist of what Etherstones is for the people that may have no clue what Etherstones is, please.
So Etherstones is primarily a node as a service, DeFi node as a service, and on the side we're kind of merging it with reflections. So the initial launch is going to be nodes as a service plus reflections, where you will be able to receive both forms of income in our native token and in Ethereum. And then past our launch, we plan to expand to much more, past just nodes, past just Avalanche, and just into like all of crypto.
Awesome, man. That's a pretty good view of what you guys are doing. Walk us through. I know you said you kind of are the main man behind this, but walk us through who else is on the team. Maybe who else is helping you. I mean, I'm sure you have maybe a marketing person, some mods. Walk us through who else is supporting you.
Yep. So this all started with the reflection token I was working with before. That was with 2 other people who I both know in real life, and they were both like helping me behind the project, helping me think of tokenomics, pretty much helping me make all the decisions in the beginning and how this project's gonna be structured, everything behind the scenes. And then at some point we had a slight disagreement in how it should be structured, and we kind of split off, but they still stuck behind me. I just did all the dev stuff mostly alone. And yeah, that was that part. So once we started launching, I got them back on board, and everyone I know who is an admin, I know in real life. So there is no concerns about that. And all the mods currently are just people who got in very early and reached out to me and asked to be a mod. And I decided to let them be mods because they're nice people. So yeah.
That's fantastic, man. It's really rare that you have a project where you actually, the head person involved knows physically or personally everyone involved. So that really does make me feel a lot safer about the project. Walk us through when you guys are planning on launching the project this month.
Yep. So right now I've been in talks with Solidity.finance, and I'm going to audit with them. Their expected completion date is March 18th. So based on that, I would expect the launch to be as soon as the audit is finished, to just right after, pretty much. That's my goal.
I love what you guys are doing, man. Make sure the audit's done before launch. That way there's no issues at launch. I really respect that. Are you guys going to mix it up with any KYC, since everybody is kind of known to you? Are you guys going to KYC to anybody?
Yeah, so we've already done an Assure KYC.
Oh, there you go.
And I will be privately doxing myself to James Pelton during his AMA, which is in 5 days from now.
Oh, we beat him to it, so I'll have to give James some shit for that. But no, that's great, man. And listen, I know Johnny and Scott have a lot of questions, so why don't I bring them into this, because I know they've been waiting for this for a while. Who wants to go first, Johnny or Scott?
I'll go first.
Oh, you guys are gonna have to fight to the death for it. No, Scott, why don't you go ahead and ask some questions, and we'll bring Johnny in.
Yeah. So what made you want to start this project?
So, I mean, I've always been a developer. Back in late December, I got really into DeFi Kingdoms, and it kind of all started from there, where I got super interested in blockchain development, where I saw like their system, how they plan stuff out, how they did their tokenomics. I thought it was really cool, and my initial ideas were to make a game on Harmony, and go from there. But that turned out to be like way too much work, and I was not prepared for that, and I didn't have anyone else helping me, so that kind of got scrapped. And then right after that was when I joined as a dev on the Reflection token. And then from there, I realized that there's this whole new other side of DeFi where it's not just games or regular investments that I could be a developer in. And my experience there has kind of led me to make this project because I saw everything I could do here.
Nice. Yeah, I was looking through your white paper again tonight just to kind of get a refresher with all the projects. It's hard to keep track of what is what, and I really think your guys' white paper is laid out pretty nicely, and just like it explains what the problem is and all that stuff with the nodes as a server, the reflection, the NFTs, and all that stuff, and what your guys' solution is, and I really like that. So, so I guess what exactly is your plans with having the nodes as a service and the reflections?
Yeah, so plans are to just have two forms of income. So one big benefit about nodes as a service plus reflections is that it allows us to take more taxes. And I mean, I guess this is kind of like sidetracked, but taking more taxes allows us to inflate the daily returns you get from a node. And that allows for better marketing and also makes the project more sustainable. So people see 1.5% and they're like, wow, that's pretty good. But in reality, due to taxes, the peak amount is like 1.25% or in that range. So it's more sustainable than it looks from the outside.
Gotcha. And would you think that over the long term, with having both of those models, that it's going to be pretty sustainable with what your tokenomics are?
I think so. I think that we're doing something unique in DeFi. And I think that, first off, if you're innovating, you're going to be successful because people, like half the projects these days are just half-assed forks where people just come in and copy someone else's code, remake a new website, and just auction off their new token, which personally I highly dislike because, I mean, they're just in it for the money and they just want to make money off their token. Personally, I'm in it because I want to do something cool in DeFi and build an ecosystem. And I don't really like those kinds of projects, in my opinion.
Yeah, Johnny had just made a comment. We were talking about a little bit earlier about forks and all of that stuff and upcoming things that are making original codes and stuff. And we were talking about how forks of projects are kind of a pain in the butt, and because they don't really ever fix the problems that those original codes had. So, so yeah, I'm looking forward to what you guys have going on. So can you kind of elaborate a little bit what with like the issues that you guys have found, like with the reflections token that you were a part of? You don't have to name the name or anything, but with the issues that you have found with these different types, can you kind of elaborate on that and how you guys plan to fix that for everybody?
Yeah, so in the white paper, there's a section that describes what happens to most reflection tokens. And in the reflection token I worked on, it was the exact same thing that happened to it. It was super successful at launch because everyone was just buying. It spiked really hard and it just dropped to almost zero right after that because people realized that no one else was buying and they just sold other tokens. So our plan for that is because they have trouble, because other reflection tokens rely on volume for taxes, we're taxing node returns. And the more nodes we have, the more taxes we'll be able to take. So we're never going to run out of volume. And that's the main innovation behind my project, which after I thought of, I was like, I have to do this or else, like, I don't know, the world will just never know that this was a thing I thought of.
Gotcha. Yep. Awesome. I'm really looking forward to your guys' project here in a few days. Can you can you talk about the 4 different types of Etherstones that you guys have and what their cost versus the ROI is?
Mm-hmm. So the lowest one we have is a pebble. It starts at 5 ETHs, however you want to say it, and it ranges from up to 8. So every stone has a multiplier. The range is like 1.8 times the base cost. So pebble's base cost is 5, then shard is 25, then stone is 125, and then crystal is 625. So each of these nodes, when you upgrade them, you get about like a 0.7 to 0.9 higher base daily APR when you go from tier to tier, or not tier, when you go from like type of stone to type of stone, and you also get a increase in the boost you get in when you're compounding. So there's 2 types of boosts when you get a better stone.
Gotcha. So with those stones, are you earning both the reflection and the native token, or just one or the other?
So you're earning one or the other. To earn the reflection, you either have to stake in the vault, which is a separate part. It's not part of the stones, or you can compound into the vault directly, which has a lower tax, gives you your compound boost, so you're going to earn more the next day, and will also give you some Ethereum reflections.
Gotcha. And what happens when you claim those reflections? Does it take away your boost? So say you get like a, I don't know, 1.4 boost or whatever for compounding that for 10 days in a row. Does that boost go away once you pull out those rewards, or does it stay there?
The boost stays. There's no side effect of pulling out your Ethereum rewards. Only way that your boost will go away is if you claim the actual Etherstone or you press claim all for all the Etherstones, because claiming, you get taxed higher and it's going to reset the boost.
Gotcha. So I've got 2 more questions, then I'll turn it over to Johnny. So once we create one of these Etherstones, are they transferable to wallet? Can I sell that? How does that work?
So as of right now, they are transferable, but I'm going to be the only person who has access, and the team will also have access to transferring it. We will not be doing any transferring post-launch for quite a while. I don't have a date yet, but it's going to be like at least a month out, at the very bare minimum. And it'll only be reserved for transferring it for like airdrops, or people who want giveaways, or just want giveaways pretty much.
Yeah, gotcha. So say my wallet was hacked and I needed to move it to another wallet, would I be able to contact you or one of the team members and provide whatever verification I need to provide to get it transferred to a new wallet?
Yes, you can do that.
That's amazing. I really like that a lot, honestly. My last question that I have for you is, so you guys have a pretty large roadmap or a lot of things into it. Like, how do you guys see yourselves hitting all of those goals this year? And do you guys actually feasibly see yourself hitting those goals?
The goals in the roadmap are what I want to accomplish. So depending on the success of the project, which as of right now, it looks like we're going to be pretty successful. I mean, like 2 weeks ago, we had 10 people in the Discord. So it's becoming more and more likely that we'll be able to follow out on what we want to achieve. And I believe that at this rate, we will be able to hit our goals.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Alrighty, Johnny, it's all you.
All right, Indra. Good to talk to you again, friend.
Yep.
When I first joined your Discord and I first spoke to you, man, one of the things that stood out to me is that you are a dev that has thought about the why question. As a researcher, when I spend time looking at projects, all the Ohm forks, all the Titano forks, all the forks of every single project that there's been, I always ask, why? Why didn't it work? Why didn't the first one work? Why is this one not working? I read your white paper and I knew right away you had thought about those questions. So you touched on reflections tokens, the one that you were part of, and the why for reflections tokens, the reason they all trend to zero is normally volume, correct?
Yes.
So basically, once you buy a reflections token, you only receive payout from it if you're holding it and more people are buying. If people stop buying, for those of you out in the audience that are unaware, there's no reflections paid because there's no taxes being taken. and then everyone will sell, and the reflection won't be enough to keep the price over the loss of value that you're getting by holding it, right? Can you briefly touch on nodes as a service and what the problems that you see there that you're looking to solve are?
Yeah, so the biggest problem I saw in nodes as a service is that it's just too many projects offer too high of daily base APR, and that kills a lot of projects very fast. So for example, Univ, completely unsustainable. They offer 4% because they didn't really know what they were doing with their tokenomics, and they just died very quickly. All the Univ forks that came after it, they're also going to die very quickly because of their really unsustainable tokenomics. And it's that's the biggest problem with node projects. Like nodes are a very good idea because it's like longing a project essentially, and it works very well, especially if you're early. And if you get in like relatively early, you're still going to do very well. So overall, just the biggest problem with nodes is that they offer too much. And when you tune that down, then it becomes a lot more sustainable and better for the ecosystem.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that's obviously the main problem is unsustainable APRs. And the thing that I've noticed that I've researched countless node forks is this though. The problem is that you have to offer a high enough of an APR so that people will actually be attracted to the project, and you have to try to walk a thin line in between how much you can actually pay out and be successful long term with how much you are paying out to get people attracted to the project. Like what conclusion did you draw there? Is that why you picked the APYs that you've picked?
Yeah, I ran into that issue when I was initially trying to figure out the numbers for my project. So I ran a bunch of tests and a bunch of calculations for like daily ROI and how that would translate to like yearly APR, yearly APY. I ran a bunch of calculations to reach numbers that I wanted. And the numbers I wanted to hit were lower than existing projects, but not too low so that people wouldn't be incentivized to invest. And again, the daily returns for our nodes that we were able to tax so highly, it kind of inflates our project. I'm not going to lie about it. It makes the numbers look bigger than they actually are, so people are more excited to invest. And that way, it can also help bring in new investors while keeping the project paying out long term.
Absolutely. So I think one of the other things that I've noticed looking at node projects, and you can tell me if you agree or not, but that other than creating a node with the token, there's usually no utility behind it. Have you seen that?
Yes.
And that's kind of why when I read your white paper, I realized something. I was like, this guy has come up with a system that makes it valuable both to node, but also you receive reflections from the tokens as you essentially hold them in the node, and it does away with that problem. Essentially, there's more utility to the token in your system. How'd you come up with that?
Yeah, so working in reflections, it like gave me just exposed me to the idea of that like you can hold a token and also earn a real like hard cash value. Like it could be Ethereum, it could be USDT or like any stable coin. It's just, but that stuff has like hard value behind it. Technically, any crypto base or any secondary coin can go to zero. And as when you're getting paid in real money, then at least you know that you're making your investment back in some way, and that helps investors and makes them more confident in their investments.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you put this project together, one of the other things that I really liked about you is that you're the lead dev, and that most of the code that's been written, other than parts that you've had to fork for obvious reasons from like a reflections token or whatever, you've written it, correct?
Yes.
For those of you out there who don't realize, like that's special. It's special to be able to talk to the lead dev behind a project. So many times when we're researching projects, the person we're talking to is a person who has hired out second-hand devs who are doing the work, and that person actually has no idea what's in the code. Maybe they don't even understand what's in the code. We've seen some rugs recently where devs can just take control of the project or get the founder to sign some type of code and basically rug the project. And you've confirmed to everybody that you're the lead dev and that all of the devs on this project in real life.
Yes, I've written 100% of the smart contracts. I've coded the majority of the front end for the site. I've done practically everything pretty much. And it's also the reason why I'm going to be the only person who has access to the wallets. And I'm going to be the person who's doxing myself to James Pelton. Because that way there's going to be no like team conflicts. There's not going to be any like drama like what happened to the Louverture. And the project's not going to fall apart like that because I'm going to be the one in charge.
Excellent, man. You know what? We have a lot of people in here. Sensei, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Indra?
Well, before we open up the audience, and if you guys want to start raising your hands now to get in line, that'd be really cool. I want to know how you guys plan on launching, right? Because we've seen Oxify launch, we've seen some really terrible launches, and I'm wondering, are you guys going to just try to launch it stealthily one day, just drop it, or what are you going to do to prevent bot attacks? I mean, have you guys really thought about that process and what you guys are going to do to try to avoid just a chaotic launch?
Yeah, so the launch is a really delicate topic. Ideally, I think it's kind of impossible to avoid a huge spike in the price and all the liquidity being bought up when we're at the size we're at right now. Especially, we're not going to start with too much liquidity. If the entire pre-sale sells out, we're going to have around $300,000 in liquidity. So, I mean, there's no way we can avoid that. We do have systems in place to prevent bots, but again, it's impossible to prevent bots completely because it's just physically impossible because bots are indistinguishable from real people on the blockchain. So also the issues that I found with stealth launches are that like other like scams can pop up and pretend to be your token and people will buy it, think it's the real thing since it's stealth. But I think ideally our launch would be similar to how Red Light Finance did their launch, and we'll just have to deal with a huge price spike in the beginning and then we'll drop a bit and hopefully it'll stabilize and grow from there.
No, man, I think that's well said. It's really hard to launch a project these days without having some kind of serious issues. But you guys have such a big community behind you, and I mean, just speaking to you, I mean, we do a lot of these AMAs, and you really can tell who is connected to a project and who is just kind of, just kind of not making it up as they go. But you definitely speak from experience in the heart, and I think the project is really lucky to have you behind it. I don't have too many other questions. If we want to start getting some of the audience up, I'd love for people to start raising their hands. I know we had a ton of people raising their hands before, but let's see what we can do to bring some people up. But Indra, is there anything else maybe that we haven't gone over in these kind of questions in the last half an hour that you think something that maybe we left out or something that you'd like to talk about as we bring some people up here?
I don't think there's anything, so I'm happy to answer some questions from everyone.
Fair enough, brother. Let me bring them up. See, people get shy in the beginning, but then they kind of, they settle in. RJ, what's up, RJ? What's your question for Indra here?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you guys are planning to do any audits before the launch.
Yeah, so I covered that in the beginning. I don't know if you were here for it, but
I wasn't
planning. Okay, yeah, we're planning a Solidity.finance audit. For those curious, it will cost me a total of close to $13,000 from my own wallet. So I'm hoping that will go well. Estimated completion date is March 18th, and I hope to launch as soon as possible after it's complete.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, RJ. Appreciate you, man. Hustling Crypto. What's up, Hustling? What you got? Just gotta unmute, my friend. You got it, brother.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, my friend.
What's going on, fellas? Andrew, I like the project, man. I really enjoy what you did with the project. My question is, because I've been over this white paper like a million times, man. I really like the tokenomics and everything you got in there. I see a lot of projects that when they launch their NFTs the same day, and it takes away from when people go to secondary markets and they buy them up. I noticed in the white paper you said you're trying to do like a middleman thing and have an in-house market where something where we can where you guys are kind of plan on, if I'm saying it right, plan on doing it to where you can exchange the NFTs in-house. Is there any plans on just like keeping them off of secondary markets like Tofu, NFT, and NFT trade?
Yeah, that is a good question. So they've actually both reached out to me trying to get my project listed on their sites, which is kind of funny. But there are no plans for NFTs. NFTs are for like at least 3+ months out. It's not going to be something early because it does kill projects very, very fast. And the one solution I found to this issue is that if you tax secondary sales, so if you do a secondary sale in, let's say, our native token, ETH is how I like to say it, I don't know. If you tax a percentage of that in AVAX, you can use the AVAX to buy back your token. So for example, if every trade is taxed 20%, that's just going to go back into the price. And even though someone's leaving the ecosystem with their tokens that they receive from the sale, you're still gonna be able to buy some back from the marketplace, and that should be a relative fix to the issue. But we're still exploring how to like make the delicate transition to NFTs.
I appreciate that, man. Thanks. Just wanted to know.
Thanks, Hustling Crypto. Appreciate your value, man. As we wait for some more questions, I did have a couple things in mind here. How are you guys gonna? I mean, are you guys planning on any collabs with different projects? I mean, have you kind of? I mean, sure. I'm sure your project's kind of blown up. Has anyone reached out to you, kind of wanting to work with you guys and seeing how you guys can do, things together? I know like Comb and Red Light have been working together on some stuff, and I'm just wondering if you guys have kind of planned any forethought into collaborations, any things that you guys can do with other projects.
Yeah. So as of now, we haven't done anything, but it's definitely something that we want to pursue in the future because I think it's just great to collaborate with other people who are also successful and leaders in the space.
Awesome, man. Well, if you need any connections to any of those projects, you let me know.
Thank you.
Jive, what's up, Jive? I know you probably got some good questions. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, hi. Hey,
You're
Indra.
muted, brother.
Hi.
Hello.
Jive, you're muted, amigo.
I think he's just in a bad
Yeah,
call.
guys, are you able to hear me?
We can hear you now, Jive.
Yeah, I can hear you.
What you got?
Hey. Sure. Hey, hi, guys. Hey, Indra, how are you? Good project.
Well, I'll ask a
definitely-
question while he's trying to figure it out. It
Oh, no,
actually
Johnny,
jogged my
we
memory.
can
Johnny,
hear
he
him.
can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear him.
Hear Jive.
You can hear him and I can't? Okay,
Yeah,
perfect. Go ahead.
Go, Jive.
Hey, Indra, just a couple of questions, okay? So looking at the trend and the pattern of all these projects over the past, say, 60 days, okay? Both the reflection tokens as well as nodes, they're actually on the downhill, okay? Even the best of the projects are really having a difficulty to innovate and try and find out what to do next. Now we are trying to bring both of these together, so what's your grand plan behind it? How are you going to sustain both of them?
Yeah, so the main way to do that is we're not offering as much node returns as other projects, but we're also offering that in a replacement in our reflection system. And the reason the market has been, or the other projects have been on the downturn recently is because, the market has just been down pretty much until maybe 2 days ago. It was pretty sad. But, we're adopting a completely different model. Nodes plus reflections hasn't been done before. It's something completely new. You can't really compare it to either nodes or either reflections because it's different from both. They're not similar at all. So we're kind of we're entering into an unknown space right now where we want to innovate and we want our projects to succeed because we're innovating behind it.
Yeah, so see, I'm not quite clear in terms of what is that innovation you're trying to tell or bring onto the table when you say that nodes plus reflection token has not been there in the market and you're trying to enter into that space. It's a white space you're trying to enter into. I'm sorry?
Jive, I don't know if that was a question. That was more of a statement. Can you refer that into a question?
I didn't hear anything.
Sure.
Hello?
Okay, hold on. Jive, try to say something and see if Indra can hear you. I think we're having a problem with you being able to be heard. So try to say something one more time.
Indra, are you able to hear me?
You could repeat his question. That would work. Sorry.
Okay, Jive, tell me your question and I'll repeat it to him.
Sure, the question is, across the market, we have seen the reflection plus node model. And when you bring both together, it's a double whammy. Okay, and what is that innovation? What is that confidence it gives to Indra saying that this is going to be a success this time?
Got it. So Indra, what he's saying is that he's seen a lot of, reflection tokens, node projects, and, a lot of them are not doing too well in the space. So how do you plan to innovate those two together? And what are you going to do after the launch? What else are you going to be doing to kind of progress the project? Is that right, Jive?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's right, Indra. Can you answer that? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, a lot of other projects just don't innovate. They launch their project and then they just watch it until it falls over, and people lose interest. So, I don't plan to do that. Team doesn't plan to do that. We plan to keep building upon it, go much farther than just this one project. I mean, cross-chain is a given at this point, pretty much. We want to get as many people aware of Etherstones and in the ecosystem as possible, so we can just spread the word to everyone and build more than just this nodes project. Because, I mean, everything is like up for grabs right now. We can do like Ethereum NFTs. We could do play to earn games. There's just so many things that are available. We could also launch maybe just like a sub node, actual NAS version of Etherstones for people interested in that. There's so many unexplored things we can branch off to that this is just the beginning.
Jive, does that answer your question, my friend?
Partially. Okay, so let me ask my last question. So Indra, I heard you have run a lot of simulations in terms of the numbers, right? So you would have seen a threshold. At what point of threshold, be it in terms of the number of reflections or be it in terms of the number of nodes, you believe that the project is going to be on a deadline?
Wait, you heard that, Indra?
I heard that one, but
okay,
yeah, I heard it. I don't know what's happening, but it doesn't really work like that. So the reflections are funded by sales on the token and node taxes. Node taxes and sales are never going to beat node rewards. So the reflections are kind of a secondary thing, which allow you to earn Ethereum while you're compounding your rewards. So this is, I would consider it primarily a nodes project, but with a secondary aspect where you can earn reflections, because rewards for both are going to be less than what you would normally see in just a purely reflections project or a purely nodes project, because we're doing the split and we want to make it sustainable. Like I could just up the taxes to 80% and the daily returns to like 5% a day, but then the token price would just drop to zero. So in terms of simulations, that's the stuff I've been looking at, how I can keep it with the proper numbers, work long term, but also sustainable in both nodes and reflections.
Okay, thanks, Indra. Thanks, Sensei.
Thanks, Jive. Appreciate you adding value. I will say before we get Iceman in here that you guys are entering a new space, right? Running a NAS mixed with reflections is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. But I do think we need to say that 80 to 90% of these new projects, they're going to fail, guys. And if you don't understand that, you really need to kind of up your crypto knowledge and game, right? Most of these projects launch, there's hype, and then there's nothing. So you really want to identify the really strong players in the space. And I do think Indra is more than capable of, of growing the project and innovating the project. And we're just going to have to see how this thing works. And just to see if this model works. Like we're really on the forefront of innovation right now with DeFi and this new space. And so the only time will tell really how this is going to play out. But it's going to be very interesting to watch. And if we're early, which we are, if you're listening to this, you're early. There's ways to make money in here, and I think in the short term, and then we'll be able to really have a nice return. And really, it's up to Indra and the team to innovate from there. But without further ado, Iceman, what's up, Iceman? What you got?
I couldn't have had a better introduction. Thank you.
Got you, brother. What's up?
I just really have one main question. I like what I'm hearing about the sustainability of the node rewards, because I do agree. I think that's one of the biggest problems that you've seen in the past. My main question is about project sustainability overall. With a lot of node projects, you have people, buy up the nodes that they want, compound up to the nodes that they want, and then at some point you need to move into the next phase of your game plan in order for you to continue growth and volume movement through the protocol, right? So has that been considered? And I'm not trying to, ask for any kind of super down the line alpha information. I'm just curious if you've considered something like that.
Yeah, so there are a lot of things we've considered to keep people engaged and keeping the ecosystem healthy. Like one example I've thought of is instead of, let's say, paying a maintenance fee, what if you paid the maintenance fee in liquidity and you added it to liquidity pool? That would benefit the project overall and that's like the best possible outcome for that. So it's one thing I'm exploring. I mean, going cross chain and doing all these things with that would like bring new people to the project is always good. So there are many things we've thought of to make it engaging and last long term beyond just a node protocol.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Iceman,
Yeah, no problem.
I have to say, bro, I didn't really notice your photo until I really looked at it. That is pretty funny, man. I'm sitting here laughing under my breath.
You like that?
It took me a while to see it, bro, but it's pretty funny, man. Do you have another question?
Y'all have a good one.
Yeah, brother. Thank you so
I'm
much.
good.
Appreciate you, man. That's too funny. William Waugh, come on up, man. It's your time. You got to click the. Oh, you found the green button. You're good, man. William, what's your question?
Nice to have you here, Indra. I just have one simple question. Some of other node projects are trying to give more utility to their token, like having a sub-chain of AVAX or like an investment. Sorry, are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
Yeah.
We're just listening to you. Investment fund, investment what? What were you gonna say, man?
Yes. What is your plan for giving more utility to the token in the long term?
Yeah, so I mean, our play to earn goals for the long term is definitely going to play into that ecosystem. Play to earn might eventually be cross chain because I mean, Avalanche is relative to like chains like Harmony, it is high gas fees. So there will be a lot of utility that we will plan out. Things are still very, very early though. We're still trying to focus on launching the project and ensuring that's successful. But I mean, we just want to make it as engaging and as I don't know how to say it, like as engaging as possible, I guess. So that you can do a lot more with the token than you would just do with, for example, let's say like one Vapor or whatever. Not to like throw shame on Vapor nodes, but
We love Vapor, man. Vapor's a good project. William, did that answer your
they are a good
question?
project.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, William. You have a good night, man. You take care. Fancy, what's up, Fancy? What you got?
Well, if I can unmute myself, life is easier. First of all, real basic question, because I missed the beginning of it, is what chain is this going to be on right now?
Avalanche.
It's going to be on Avalanche. Okay. And I couldn't find the Discord, but I finally found it on the website, so that's good. You said something that kind of, I don't know, kind of made my ears stand up on it at some point about you being in control of a particular wallet. Could you re-explain that to me and tell me what that means and tell me how that's going to be safe for people that are in the project, and we're not going to have somebody just kind of, one person goes, woohoo, I got it all type thing.
Yeah, I can re-explain that. So
okay,
the biggest problem with other projects are that either, like for example, Xrd, they didn't ever reveal their identities. They didn't ever like do. They pretty much took all the steps they needed to rug properly. So for me, I am KYC'd.
Nice.
I'm going to privately dox myself, just myself, and for that reason, I'm going to be the only person who can have control of the wallets. Because if the wallets ever get rugged, then you guys know it's me, and then you can ask James Felton who I am, and then go find me and murder me or whatever. So rugging is out of the question. Yeah, I am not going to rug because, I mean, I literally that's stupid, and I want this to be a big thing, and I want it to grow and become big in Web3 and blockchain, and rugging would just be stupid to do that because so many projects like build up so much of a following and potential, and then they just throw it away because they're money hungry. And I'm not in need of money. I'm a software engineer, so that is not an issue of mine. I just want to make something that's cool and people can interact with and be part of the ecosystem and enjoy it.
He wants to go down in blockchain history, my friend.
That's awesome. Okay, that's good. And you sound like you mentioned red light nodes at launch, and can you explain to me what you liked about their launch? Their launch actually had a little bit of an issue, and explain to me why you liked their launch and what was good about it that you enjoyed. And I'm a huge red light fan and a mod within the group, so I'm interested in your comment on that.
Oh, okay.
Spicy.
I was mostly referring to like how their chart handled the launch, where I mean, even though all the liquidity got bought up practically instantly. Can't really avoid that unless you, let's say, limit wallet sizes to like 2 tokens or something, which would also just not be good because then bots would just overflow everything. So our goals right now are to limit wallet sizes to a certain amount. I'm not going to say it in case there are any bots in the audience, but that on top of a slightly higher tax at the beginning, so that when you sell your token, people who are staking will get more of a reward when we do our swap backs. And referring to Red Light, their chart, how their chart handled it was better than other projects. Like I'm comparing to like Elixir, recent projects like that, where they had a huge spike, but then it just died. It just went straight to zero right after that because they did not have a solid project and their tokenomics were flawed.
Okay, well, thank you, and I appreciate another person that's willing to just go out there, dox themselves, and then go and fight to make a business sustainable. And I'd rather understand that businesses can fail, but I'd rather have a business that worked hard and failed than somebody that just is money hungry, and just rugs people. So thanks for your time, everybody.
Well said, Fancy.
Thank you.
Thank you for adding value. SB in the house. What's up, SB? What you got?
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you, brother.
Cool. Hey, I have a question. Do you guys plan to have a multisig on the Treasury?
So for the Treasury, I mean, it's something we can consider. Again, I'm going to be the only person in charge of the wallet. So if anything happens to any of the wallets, you guys know it's me. If the community still wants a multisig, I'm open to that. But for the time being, we do not plan to have a multisig.
Okay. And what are the other revenue sources that you are looking at besides the taxes?
There are no other revenue sources.
Yeah, right. And within the roadmap, I saw that down the line you're planning to list this on the centralized exchanges. And when you list it on exchanges, right, you cannot have the taxes. And for your project, the taxes is the main thing. So did you ever thought about it?
Yeah, that is something. Centralized exchanges are like very long term. That's more for the goal when, for example, we venture into play to earn, and like Axie, they have their smooth love potions on Binance or something. Something like that would be more similar. I should probably clarify that, but that's more of what I meant.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think down the line you will figure it out, man. Good luck. That's all from my side.
Thanks, SB. Appreciate you. Nefertiti, I probably said that wrong, but why don't you go ahead and ask your question?
No, man, that was close enough. Thank you so much for having me here. Indra, really big admirer. I think what you're doing is incredible. You're incredibly innovative, honest, well-spoken, and very obviously genuinely invested into this project. And like what was said earlier, that's not something that you see a whole lot in the DeFi space right now. So that's awesome. And I think because of that, we're seeing a lot of interest into the project. So I'm curious why, and you kind of answered this, well, you started to answer this when answering Fancy's question, but I'm curious why you're not responding to that hype with perhaps a higher initial liquidity, maybe by increasing whitelist maximum allocation. Like, what's your reasoning for that?
Good question.
So the token supply goal we have is 2 million. I just chose that because it's an arbitrary number. It kind of makes sense. Like the best node is a crystal node. It costs 1,000. That way the maximum in the ecosystem could be 2,000. I just decided that would be a nice number to have. So the reason I'm like kind of wary of giving too much space to whitelist is that they're going to control a large portion of the supply at launch. And I want to minimize that amount as much as possible. And that's already been done by only allowing each person to purchase up to 1,500 of the token. But when you give too much to people at launch, it can mess with the project's tokenomics and how it'll operate. Because let's say right now, they're going to control maybe 40% of the supply. Let's say like half of them are just interested in just quick flip, and they sell it immediately. They get their money and they leave. If that number doubles and that is twice as many people are looking to do that, that can actually damage the project long term. So even though liquidity is going to be likely an issue at launch, something that we'll just have to deal with, and hopefully will correct itself over time as our contract adds its own liquidity. So, I mean, we're also considering holding a second pre-sale because the audit is planned to finish on March 18th. The first whitelist is going to fill up, I would assume, within like 2 or 3 days, maybe more, maybe like 4 or 5 days. But we'll have some time where we can do perhaps like a node only whitelist where we'll give out X amount of nodes per day and add that to liquidity as well.
Indra, why wouldn't you just say, hey man, if you're buying in a whitelist, it's either it's vested or it's you noded up. I mean, like I dropped the hammer. I dropped the hammer on it, man. Like, if we're gonna be here to support the project, say 50% of it has to be vested into the project. Like put that out and make people stay in the project. That's what I would do. I just hold people's feet to the fire.
If I could really quickly add, that's exactly the same point I was going to make, and I'm sure you have. I mean, we can all tell you're incredibly smart, so I'm sure you have a good reason for this. But it like that way, you really make sure that the people on the wait list are not just looking for a quick flip. Like I get really excited when a project almost forces pre-sale participants and whitelisters to invest their entire allocation into the node directly. That way, the liquidity is maximized without the possibility of a dump right at launch.
Yeah, so looking back on it, I probably should have done that, but I'm just worried about changing it now and how people react. Like, for example, I could just change my mind and say, all right, you guys only get 500 of our token, you get the best node. I could do that. I don't know how well it'll be the response would be. I don't know if it'd be a positive impact, but looking back on it, I should have done that in the launch.
Indra, there's still time.
And that's why I'm considering second pre-sale.
Hold on, Johnny, go for it. What you got?
Here's another suggestion, and this is something like just coming. It's a simpler way, but to be honest, man, like the price you're charging for whitelist prices is very low. Like you can raise the price per token that you want. We all know, anybody on the whitelist knows, or anybody that would buy in any pre-sale that you would have knows that the price is going to shoot up far past what we would pay being so early. So it's not unreasonable for you to ask for more coins or more cash per token and add that to liquidity. I think everybody would be willing to pay more if we knew that it's going to stabilize the project long term and it's going into liquidity instead of like a dev wallet. You see what I'm saying?
Well said.
Yeah. I mean, my only reasoning for not changing that stuff yet is because I already said what it was, and I don't know if it would be wise to just go back and change it. I mean, if I ask everyone and they're like, yeah, I'm willing to pay $1 instead of 50 cents per token for your token, then I'd be definitely open to changing it. And that would definitely help the project too. But I don't know if it would be the right direction to take. I mean, I could just ask the community.
There you go.
To it.
There you go.
But my number one priority is to have the whitelist sell out so I can get as much liquidity funds as possible.
Your whitelist is going to sell out in like 15 minutes, dude.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
If I might I don't want to overstep. I'm really just a humble participant. I'm really thankful that I've been on stage this long. Definitely don't want to overstep, but I just want to say, Indra, the community really loves you and they really trust you. I wouldn't be so quick to assume that they would be opposed to just switching over to nodes entirely. Like I said, I would be incredibly excited. Anyone that is genuinely excited for the project would also be excited for that change, because otherwise, like, I'm afraid of that dump the same way anyone else that's interested is. That being said, it's obviously up to you. I think that you would receive a little bit more opposition if you increase the price. As a degen myself, I'm a student, 750 is already going to be a pretty big allocation on my part. So to double the price, you might receive a little bit more opposition than just making it a node in general. But with that said, thank you guys for having me. Thank you, Indra, and thank you to the Crypto Nerds community.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming up. I think you brought up a great point. And Indra, you really are the knight in shining armor here. And I would just put a vote out to the community, let the community decide, and then it's not on you. You know what I mean? You've done your due diligence, and you go from there, man. But hey, it's your project, brother. You do whatever you want. John Lee Digital. What's up, John Lee? You got to unmute, John. You got to unmute, my friend. And then I invited somebody up. I can't say your name because I think it's in Chinese. You got to accept the invite that's staring you in the face. You got a little cute dog in your picture, but you got to click to come up. Sorry about that. Go for it, John Lee.
Hey, no worries. Thanks. This has been a really, really good AMA, Indra. You just mentioned that you guys were using the taxes to inflate the APR. Could you just talk a little bit more about that, just so there's like full understanding for people like me who don't really get it yet? Thanks.
Yeah, so the APY that's advertised on like the banners and Twitter is completely 100% falsified. It's just marketing thing. Honestly, I might consider changing it because it's like bringing up a lot of questions. The real APY and APR we offer is lower than 450. So 450 is calculated with the top tier node with zero taxes taken into account, and APY is based off of that 450 when you're compounding daily, and that is impossible to do because you can't compound daily when you have the best tier node, because compounding means you're going to buy another node of the best tier earning you the same APR. So like honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I haven't calculated myself. I think the real APR once you reach the best node is somewhere in the 300 to 400 range. Maybe mid to low 300 to 350. APY would probably be 1,000, probably even less, probably like 800, maybe 7. I don't know the numbers exactly because I don't think it's too important to calculate right now. But it is inflated because of taxes and, well, just multiple taxes, the sell taxes and the claim taxes, and compounding isn't really possible when it's calculated.
Gotcha. Okay, that's super helpful and just kind of explains that it's still a pretty good rate. Thanks.
Thank you, John Lee. Appreciate you. And before I get Coin Collector in, the guy with the cute, or the woman with the cute dog, I can't say your name because I don't speak the language, but please go ahead and unmute, ask your question.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. What's your question?
So my question is, you said that you were privately doxed to an individual, but I was wondering, are you KYC'd as well? Because it brings to mind Wonderland when the treasurer was privately doxed, and then who he actually was came out and all hell broke loose.
Yeah, so I am KYC'd. I KYC'd before the project launched because I wanted to get out of the way. It's one of the first posts in the announcements channel and one of the first Twitter posts. So yes, I am. I did it through Assure.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend with the cute little dog. You can come up anytime. Coin Collector, what's your question?
What's up, guys? Indra, you have the community lit, man. I mean, that place is raving. I am whitelist. I'm pretty active. I think I was in there maybe the first day. I have no problem, and I don't think you will have any other problems from anybody else if you make us node up.
That's great.
I mean, because
oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Because nobody, if you look at the whitelist chat, everybody doesn't care if you make us node up or anything. But I don't think you'll have any problem with that.
Okay, that's really good to hear. One thing I'm considering is that I would do one of the best nodes, so just 1,000 locked best node to each person. Obviously, if they bought over the max amount and the 500 of the token on top of that, and that would probably not be vested because I don't really like vesting. But I mean, I don't know how you guys respond to that. But
that'd be great, man. Just do either make the decision and we're standing behind you. And if the people that don't want to participate, just say, hey, give us the whitelist back and move on. I mean, you do have a ton of us behind you, man. And so, there needs to be a decision made. And, man, you're the boss. This is your project. This is your baby. Run it how you want to run it, but I'm gonna be noting up, and I'll be buying more and noting up, and I know a lot of the community will. So, you can make that decision in the end, man. But we're all behind you, brother.
Yeah, I mean, if you just go look in the whitelist chat, I mean, everybody is raving about it. Nobody's going to have an issue, I don't think, with noding up. So
well said.
That's good to hear.
My next question, so you are the only controller of the wallet, and I hate to bring this up, I really do, but do you have a backup plan if you are in a car wreck or something?
Yeah, so I did have someone bring that up in the beginning. No, it's a real question. It's a real question. I actually did think about it. I was on a walk yesterday. I was just thinking about how I would handle that. I mean, I'd obviously maybe write the private keys on some piece of paper in my house and get my family to take care of it or something like that, or my friends, or not my friends, but my family.
Guaranteed that your house is getting broken into.
Johnny,
don't do that. Guys, he's not going to do that. That was just a joke on his part.
Find out where he lives, Johnny. Let's go. Just kidding. Just kidding.
You guys are all going to want to find me.
We're going to have a house party in your house.
Go ahead, man.
You're good, man. Sorry.
But appreciate it, Andrew, though, man. Yeah, I have mad respect for you. I mean, you are involved with the community and everything, man. So I just want to let you know.
Thank you, Coin. Appreciate you coming up, man. Fictitious Taco, I think you're the last question, so go ahead and make it a good one, and we'll get it done.
So I just had kind of new to the project. I've been looking over it. I just had a question about like whitelist spots. So I don't know if you guys. I was just wondering, like, if people who don't get a whitelist spot, if the entire token is going to sell out completely right after launch, or if there's still going to be a chance for people without the WL spots to have a chance to buy.
So, I mean, the token is probably going to sell out completely right after launch, but there's always going to be someone selling or whatever price. It's not just going to be like the token won't hit like $1 million or whatever. There's always going to be a price you can buy it at. We'll also consider, like, we're also probably going to do a second round of pre-sales with node only through like Discord giveaways, etc. So buying the token pre-sale if you're not on the whitelist probably won't be possible. But yeah.
What's the market cap? Do you know?
The launch market cap, if we, without like any more funds from the second pre-sale, right now it'd be around 1.5 million, because there's going to be like 3.5 million-ish or 3 million that is not included in the market cap because it is locked in the reward wallet.
Okay. Well, that's all for me, so thank you.
And Fictitious Taco, what you want to do, man, is you want to join Cryptonaires, man. We posted this project, like, we were like the 8th and 10th or 13th person in the Discord. If you were early enough, you probably could have got a whitelist spot. So that's the benefit of being a member.
Yeah.
You find out about this stuff early, my friend.
It is true.
It is true.
Yeah, actually, I was in the Discord since like 3K on Etherstones. I just haven't been following it close. I've been real busy all the time, so.
I know how it goes, man. No worries, brother. But hey, welcome to crypto. It's a fun space, and if you need help learning, brother, we're here. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Cheers, man. King Titus, one of my favorites. What's up, King?
What's up, man? What's up? Yo, Indra, man. I mean, I guess maybe I have a conflicting view. Please don't force me to note up, man. Please don't force me to hold any tokens, because I feel like that deters people from buying in. I think that, people who are going to sell, they're going to sell, and then the sell pressure will be over with immediately, and the project can succeed. When you force vesting, I feel like that was a big flaw in Elixir, because people consistently were able to withdraw tokens they bought at $6 and sell those tokens for over the price of what it was. And it drove that price all the way back down to $6, and they just removed the liquidity because they wanted to run away with as much as they could.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of vesting either. I understand your reason, and it's the exact same reason I don't like vesting, and I'm not planning to do vesting for the tokens. So, yeah, there is the option of letting flippers just flip immediately. But are you on the whitelist, by the way?
I am.
So how would you respond to, let's say, a one of the best nodes and then allow you to buy 500 of the real token with no vesting?
I mean, I guess it would be okay. I mean, I like the project, but, I would prefer for it to be my option. You know what I mean? I would prefer not to be trapped into, a certain situation. Like if you want someone to come in and, spend 25 grand, they need to be able to exit if they want to exit. You know what I mean?
Well, he's just talking about whitelist, though, King. He's not talking about after whitelist.
Well,
750.
Yeah,
I'm talking about on launch.
No, yeah, I got you.
Well, launch is not going to be. There's going to be no restrictions on launch. Free for all.
But yeah, I mean, if people want to get out, man, just let them go. Trapping people into the project, I don't feel like it's ever the way.
Well said, King. We always need the opposite viewpoint. We're up here cheerleading. It's always good to have the opposite side, man. Thank you for coming up and adding value. Did you have any other questions or concerns, my dude?
No, that was it, man. I appreciate it.
All right, I'm gonna just do two more questions, and then I'll let Indra out of here. I'm sure he's got some stuff to do. So last two questions, guys. Sorry, Indra. They just keep raising their hands. They love you. I'm gonna bring these two last people on the stage, and that is it. Hustling Crypto, you are first.
Hey, I just had to come back on here. I know I asked my question already, but as a whitelister myself, I was just want to come on and say I do not oppose to getting the top node for 1,000, and still being able to hold 500. That gives people the option if they do want to sell when a project launches. and do whatever they want to do with their money. That's their business. They can get their money back, but I'm not objected to having to put 1,000 into the top node. So I just want to say that to you, Indra. If you had any questions, what a whitelist might think, that's my proposal. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Hustling. Appreciate you, man, for coming back up and saying that. Really do. Mac, you are the final and the last. Make it count, sir.
Well, damn, now the pressure's on.
I know. I wanted to do that. Sorry.
I just wanted to voice support for the nodes only. Not with the whitelist, but just an option to buy the nodes close to pre-sale pricing. I don't know how many guys are, but I got on hoping to buy the nodes, make it a long-term investment kind of thing.
Well said, Matt.
So for the second pre-sale, are you talking about that in terms of like after the first whitelist?
Yeah, maybe like a separate whitelist just for the nodes or a pre-sale for just nodes. Because I can't imagine everyone's on here just to get it and do everything short term.
Yeah, I agree. So that's probably something. Well, that's definitely something we'll very highly likely do after the first whitelist fills.
And then would it be a whitelist for the pre-sale for the nodes, or just in general everyone can do it?
Well, we can't let everyone do it because that's just gonna hurt. I mean, if we just sell all of the tokens and just lock them in nodes, like no one's gonna buy anymore. So there has to be some limits to it. We're probably gonna have a fixed amount we can give out per day up until launch, and keep the community engaged and interacting through that.
Okay, that's all the questions I had.
Oh, well, thank you, Mac. We appreciate you, man. Well, in closing, Scott, Johnny, did you have any final words of wisdom for Indra, or anything you wanted to say before we let Indra have the final word?
So basically, Indra, just so you know, our recording bot may have not recorded like the first few questions that we asked, or like basically when you were talking about the project. So as you sign off, if you can just do a brief overview for anyone that might not have caught the beginning, and if it didn't get recorded, just kind of explain briefly what the project is.
I got it all.
What it is you're trying to do.
I recorded, Johnny, on my end. I got it all.
Oh, you got it all perfect.
Sensei's on it, baby. I didn't trust Craig. That bot always looking at me funny.
Craig let us down.
Craig lets us down. Sorry, guys. Craig is the bot that's supposed to be recording stuff, and I just don't like him. So, anyways, anyone else have anything they wanted to say before Indra takes the final word? All right, Indra, the floor is yours, my friend.
All right. I want to say thank you to everyone who has taken their time to listen to me and talk about the project. I'm super grateful to everyone in the community who is active and engaging and interested in my project and what I've built. And again, I'm just really thankful for everyone for being here. So thank you.
Awesome, Indra. And I just want to say, man, we at Cryptoneers here, we love your project. We're always talking about it behind the scenes. We wish you the best of luck, man, and we know you're going to kill it. We really appreciate your time tonight spending here with the Cryptoneers community and who else joined us. And we're going to ask you back for an update when you have some more updates on the project. All right.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks, guys, for listening to another Cryptoneers AMA. Scott, go ahead and say goodbye. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just saying, I appreciate your time, Indra.
All right, guys. You guys have a great night. Thank you for spending time with us. Sensei, Scott, Johnny Fiasco, Indra, we out. Thanks, guys.